Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to Inventory Management Portal. This is Raza and today I am going to continue the purchase invoice, and the part number is 6 and the lecture number is 25. So let's start and have a look what we have today. Alright guys, as of now you see I have different things here. So let me give you a little quick feedback. So you see the things are coming with respect to the ajax from the database, and then the quantity, the per price, and then the total amount, and then add item, and then so on. You can add multiple items like this. So let's pick up another one, and then next thing is to pass these things to the database. Okay, so when I click on the save button, you see nothing is happening. So today I'm going to tell you how can we store different data into different tables inside the PHP MyAdmin database, that is our inventory DB. Okay, so the first of all I wanted to insert the data inside my purchase invoice. So let's click on the purchase invoice table and see the structure of this table and verify the columns. So I have two things inside, three things by the way, but two things I have to insert, that is the date and the supplier ID. So let's go and try this effort. So first of all, what I have to do, I have to specify a jQuery, and for that purpose you can create a separate jQuery, and you can also work in the same jQuery as well. So let me write here $, and then we have to specify the button name, that is hash, and then save button. Let us go to the button and check the name. So the button name is save button, but we have to specify the ID, so ID is not here. So let's add that name again, save button. Now this button will behave or can be accessed inside jQuery with the help of the ID. So you see save button is now here. So when somebody tries to click on the save button, okay, then something should happen, and then we should create a function here and then come inside. So when somebody tries to click, now the next thing is after this click event. So when somebody tries to click here, what we have to get the date and the supplier ID. So let's come here and create some let's create an array. Let's say purchase array is equals to this one. Okay, now the thing is we have to pick up the data. For that purpose we have to go and check what are the name of our date and the supplier drop down. So you see the date picker is here and we do not have any ID. So let's give here ID to the date picker, and the same ID we can pick. So copy and paste, and we know that when we are talking about supplier, so I have used this get list function. So inside the get list function you see I have given the ID as well. So the ID that I will pass will be the name that I will pass will act as an ID of this select control list. Okay, so let's go back and provide the supplier drop down as the ID, or pick up the value of the supplier drop down, and then similarly we can get the the value of the date picker. Okay, so let's go and the bottom and do pass these things inside the array. But first of all we have to write here purchase array dot push, that's a function, and we have to pass the value. So how can I pass the value? So we can directly pass the value with the help of the selector, that is date picker. Okay, so dot value. Okay, so we can do this something like this. Okay, and then another thing that I wanted to push inside this array, that is purchase array, and push is a method, but we can directly store by specifying comma inside this, but this is a good way. So copy, after the date picker I wanted to pick the supplier drop down. Okay, so supplier drop down, but here the problem is I wanted to get the value, the selected value. Okay, so let me write here val. Okay, that's fine. So now because the array is populated, the next thing is to pass this data to the PHP file where we are going to save this record. Okay, for that purpose we have to specify the ajax syntax $.ajax, and then we have to close the bracket and then come inside, and curly brackets and then come inside, and here I have to pass first of all the URL where I wanted to send the data. So let's get here, let's give any name, let's say pi or insert.php. let's say I'll create this page later on. Then we have the type, that is get or post. So let's provide post. I wanted to send the data with the help of post. And then the data. So where is my data? My data is inside an array. So my array name is purchase array, that's an attribute. And now the actual array name, that is purchase array. So this is the data if you have inside an array. And if you have multiple arrays, then we can pass multiple arrays, something like this. After this, we have to specify the success function. If things got success, so we have to specify here function, and then we have to specify here data as a parameter, and then curly brackets and then come inside. And here I am going to specify let's alert or display inside a message. So let's go at the top. After the save button, let's add a label. Okay, label close, and the ID of the label should be result label, and there is nothing inside this. Okay, and I wanted to apply some classes. So class equals to alert info. Okay, and text center, and it should be inside the container. So container. Okay, now let's go at the bottom and hide this label by default. So res label. So when the page loads, let's say this one, so we have to copy this code and paste it here and write the message, sorry, the label name, that is res label. Okay, and now I wanted to show this label when I receive something here. So dot show, and it should be with the delay or with the timing function, that is 500 milliseconds or half second, you can say. And then we have to specify, let me write here comma, so that the error should be removed. Now when it becomes visible, then it should have some record or some data that should be displayed. Okay, so res label dot html, and then inside this HTML I'm going to show the data, okay, that I have received. Okay, so insert.php, I am sending my purchase array. So let's create a page with the name insert.php. So php and html5 and create, and then we have to write here, save here with the name insert. Okay, insert.php inside my directory. Now here what I am going to specify the PHP markers. So PHP, and I am going to receive the data. So dollar purchase data, purchase invoice data. Okay, dollar underscore post, and then come here and then specify purchase array that you have received. Make sure the spellings are correct, and you can specify if is set, and then pass this. Okay, copy and paste. If it is set, then come inside and just cut it out and paste it here. And now I wanted to echo dollar purchase data of 0 concatenation space, concatenation, just for your understanding, otherwise we'll insert this. So purchase data of 1. Okay, and then this data will be returned because we have echoed in this page. Else, if nothing happened, then no records, let's say. So that's an example. so that you can understand. So what will happen when you click on the save button, the details of the supplier and the date will be picked up and pushed inside an array, that is the purchase array, and then I've used ajax functionality and passed the data to the insert.php page with the help of the post method, and the data will be the purchase array along with the parameter purchase array. And then when the what can we say, the response will come, so whatever the response will be, we will display them inside the label that we have created and displayed the label. So that's the first case. And then when you understand this, then we'll continue to the insertion of the data inside the database, and that's very simple. So first let's check this page out. So start and preview. So you see nothing is appearing by default, and let's select some date. So today is 4th, and shirt and large and color and product and quantity, price, add. Okay, so now these I don't have to do anything with these all. I am going to pick up the supplier and the date. So save. So you see what I've got. I've got the date and the supplier ID, that is 7. So let me go to the database and click on the purchase invoice, suppliers. So you see on the 7th ID I have BBBTTT supplier. Okay, so that means that what I have selected, the ID is returned to me. That means that my data is successfully sending with the help of the ajax, and my data is inserted inside this, and that's it. Okay, similarly that's my first data sending. Now the next table that I am going to insert is, let me show you that, the purchase invoice details. So go to this table and go to the SQL structure, and you see here we have a lot of tables inside this. So this is a very tricky task, guys, because now we have to deal with the table. So when somebody tries to click on the table, on the save button, the records inside the table should be stored somewhere inside an array, and then it should be passed to the PHP page. So for that purpose, let's create another array. So let me provide here comments. That's my purchase invoice code, and then close this like this. Just copy and paste it here, remove some spaces. Okay, and that's fine, and then remove this also. Okay, so that's better. So because we are doing some complex stuff, so we have to make differences. Okay, now after this we have to add the purchase invoice detail. So for that purpose, let's write here purchase invoice detail code, copy. Mistakenly I have removed everything. So purchase invoice details code. Okay, now that's better. In this we have to create another array. So purchase details and equals to an array. Now the problem here is we have to pass multiple records, so we have to create multi-dimensional array. Alright, so how can I store the details inside the multi-dimensional array? So what I have to do, I have to pick up first of all from the table every data. So purchase invoice detail or purchase details. Okay, so purchase details, and then I have to use the push method again. It's very simple, but before continuing, let me show you the two-dimensional array. So a two-dimensional array means, or a multi-dimensional array means, you have an array within an array, or you have rows and columns. Okay, so let's say if we have an array variable ARR, and then we have to specify the values in this. So it's like we are creating an how can we pass the values inside this? Let me show you this. So inside this I'm going to add some internal records like this thing. Okay, then comma, then for something like this. Okay, so in one array we have a sub array on the 0 index of this array. Okay, this is an array, and on the 0 index of this array we have another nested array, and then on the first index of this array we have another nested array. So this will become the row, the index of this array will become the row, and these three will be the columns, and similarly this will become the second row, and these three will become the columns. Okay, so 2 rows 3 columns, this is the 2-dimensional or multi-dimensional array, you can say. So now this similarly I have to do the same inside this. So how I wanted to push the details, I wanted to push the details inside the square brackets, and the first data that I wanted to store inside the table is the purchase ID. Okay, so you see what will happen when we are going to insert. Let me show you that. In the insert, when we are going to insert, we have to receive, or we have to fetch the last purchase ID, and then we have to pass that last purchase ID to this. Okay, so for that purpose we have to write here some fetching code so that we can get the last purchase ID. But let's just ignore that and select the next thing. Then we have the product ID. So do we have the product ID? Yes, we have the product ID inside the product drop down. So how can we get that? For that purpose, let us go to the this table, and you see the first thing we are getting here is the product, but we don't have the product ID. And then we have the category, but we don't have the category ID. So what we have to do, when we are adding these things, we have to fetch, or we have to pass the details inside this table as well. That means the IDs of the product, the IDs of the category, the ID of the color, the ID of the size. So these are the 4 things that we have to add inside this table. So let's go and try to add these IDs inside the table. So when somebody is clicking here, we are getting these things, and we are getting the text of the category, the color text and the size text, and the product text. Similarly, now let's create 4 variables again, that is pro ID equals to, just copy this one, that's the previous code that we have done, guys, and paste it here, and instead of this text, let's pick up today value of the product that we have selected. Similarly, let's copy this, or do not copy this, let's create a variable that is the category ID and equals to, and let's copy the category drop down, code, and paste, and here instead of text we are getting the value, and similarly we need the color ID. So color ID is equals to, and then we have to paste the color code and here. Okay, and then after color ID we have the size ID. So variable size ID is equals to, let's copy the size code and pass it here, and it should be value. Okay, so now I have all the category ID, size ID, product ID, color ID, everything I have now. The next step is to pass these things inside the table so that we can, or inside something, so that we can be able to what can we say, utilize these things. Okay, so inside each inside each row, you see I have passed product, I have passed category, these are the variable names. Okay, so I have to pass the details as well. For that purpose, I am going to specify an input that is type equals to hidden and value equals to, and here I am going to pass the value inside the double quotes plus plus and then pro ID. That's one way, and another way of doing the same is we can simply remove this and add another TD for this, just like we have product, something like this. So before the product we can get the product ID. Okay, so here I can write the product ID, and the variable name is pro ID, so it should be something like this, pro ID. Similarly, let's copy this product ID, and before the category ID we have to paste it. Do this very carefully, guys, so that you cannot get into trouble. So that's cat ID, okay, and before color, paste it again and pass here color ID, and then we have the size ID. So before size, let's paste this TD and give here the size ID, okay, and then quantity, and then we have price, and then other things. Now the problem is I don't want to show these IDs, so what I can do, I can hide these things, or I cannot show these things when we are adding the records inside this, okay. So for that purpose I have to make them hidden. So let's first see what's the output, and then we'll continue. So you see the headers I haven't changed right now, but when I add, you see the mess that will occur, okay. Add, you see ID, everything is coming with respect to the data, but the problem here is everything is fine, the size is there, the category is there, everything is fine. So ID is coming, but I don't want this ID to be displayed inside this, okay. For that purpose, what I have to do, I have to hide these TDs. So inside the product ID, let's go and specify the attribute hidden and save, and let's check whether it is hiding or not. So this one, let's pick up small blue denim. No, it's not hiding, or it's hiding. Yes, it is hiding, okay. Similarly, let's category, go to the category, let's copy this one, and in the category ID just paste it, and in the color ID just paste it, and then in the size ID we have to paste it, okay. So save and come here and refresh. Let's pick up things, okay, and now you see everything is coming in a proper manner, and though those things, the IDs are there as well. Now the next thing is I have to pick up the things or the details, because we can have multiple rows inside this table, so we have to apply a loop, and for that purpose we have to reach and read the table rows. For that purpose, before pushing data inside this, we have to write here something like the table name, so hash, and table ID is my table, and inside the my table we have the body, and inside the body, sorry, not body, inside my table we have the T body, and inside the T body we have the TD, okay, or TR. So I wanted to get every row, so I am going to access the row. So please go to this every row, okay, and then we have to specify the for each loop, that is the each one, and then semicolon, and then come here and apply a function, and here I am going to specify the add. So I'm going to add purchase array dot push, and then come inside, and because we are going to specify into multi-dimensional array, so I have specified the square brackets as I have mentioned you in this, okay. So square brackets, and then the next step is to pass the values. So how can I pass the values? So first of all, I'll write here dollar round bracket and dollar this, because I'm current, this means in the current row, dot find is the function, and I wanted to find the TD, okay. So TD, okay, and then the index number dot EQ, and then the index of the column. So I wanted to pick up the ID, let me show you. First of all, I wanted to pick up the purchase ID, okay. So the purchase ID I don't have right now, I'll hard code that, okay, but let me write for purchase ID, let me write here 1, XYZ, any number. I will pick up the purchase ID later on. And then the next thing is I wanted to write the same again. The second thing that I have to specify here is the retrieval of the table cell value. So this means the current row, $this dot, and find in this row, please find what? The TD, okay, and then the index number of the TD should be specified here. Let's go to the table back, and we are adding the details here. Okay, so you see that's my 0, that's my first, so the product ID is on the first index. Okay, so I have to specify here first, that's my product ID, and then what I wanted to get, the text, whatever it is written inside this. Okay, so that's my one value that I have picked up. You can pass these values inside variables first, and then you can pass these things so that it becomes more less complex. I hope it is clear to everyone. So let me do this, but it will take the time. Okay, so let's write here, do we have the pro ID? No. Okay, we have, but it's not coming in the IntelliSense. Just leave it. I'm doing this thing directly. So after this, the other column that I wanted to add is I've got the purchase product ID. Now I want the per piece price. Okay, so where is that per piece price? So let me see that. That's my per piece price. So per piece price is here. Okay, so which number of the TD is this? So that's my 0, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 10th. So come here and pass 10 to get the per price. Okay, so copy, not this one, just remove this comma, put this comma inside this, and now I wanted to pass this and paste it here, and here I'm going to pass 10 because now I wanted to pick up the per piece price. Now the quantity. So where is the quantity? Let's go back to the table, and the quantity is before per price. So if it was 10, then it should be 9. So let's pass 9th. So comma and paste, and you see the same. Let me make it on separate lines. Okay, so that's my first, that's my second, that's my third, that's my fourth, and it should be 9th. Okay, and let us go down. Now you see, or you understand this. I hope it is clear to everyone. So let me put it downwards, little bit tab, and then put a tab here, and then again tab index, so that you can be able to understand the code. Now the next thing after this is I wanted to get the after quantity the category ID. So where is the category ID, in which column? So you see that's 0, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. So it's in the inside the 3 third index. Okay, so come here and pass it here. So copy and paste, so it should become the third index, then paste, and now after the category ID we have to pass the size ID. So come here, so you see it's on third, then fourth, then fifth, then sixth, then seventh. So size ID is on 7th. So come here and give 7. So guys, you have to be very specific with respect to these details, and then again paste, and now we have to pass after size ID we have the color ID. So go back and color ID. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. Okay, so 5th index is for the color ID. Color IDs are now there, and then the next step is after the color ID everything is successfully passed. nothing else. I don't want to pass anything else. So let's remove the comma from the bottom. So guys, I have pushed all the details from the table, and this is the each loop. That means no matter the number of rows I have, all the data will be fetched from the current row and find the TD tag, and inside the TD tag pick up the index of the TD and then pick up the text of that specific TD. I hope it is clear to everyone, and this is how we can pass this. And now we have the array populated with the purchase details. So the next step is I wanted to pass this by specifying comma and purchase details, the name of the array, just pass it as a parameter, and then colon, and then again purchase details. So this time now I have two arrays. Okay, so but this is a multi-dimensional array. So let's go to the insert and check whether we have received these things or not. So let's write here, this time I'm not going to display this one, so just comment it out. Okay, and write here a condition, that is and is set, copy and paste, and here I'm going to specify the purchase details. So copy and paste it inside the post here. So if it's there, then just echo what I wanted to display. You see, that's an array, that is a multi-dimensional array, and if I have two rows, then the first record will be on, let me show you that, $_post. Let us first store the data inside the purchase details equals to, and copy this one and paste it here. Okay, semicolon, and then let's echo the details. So $purchase details of 0 and 0. Okay, so how many columns I have passed? You see here 1 2 3 4 5 6. So let's go to the insert and specify till 6. Okay, so copy inside this echo, let's put inside the double quotes and paste. You see it's coming in the italics, so that should be the first column, and then paste the second column and paste the third column and paste the fourth column and paste the fifth column. That means ultimately we got 6. So let's try to display these records, whether we are getting these things or not. So purchase invoice, sorry, close this, go to the browser and check. So now I'm going to pass this details, large green denim, quantity is 44, price is 22, add, that's my first item. Okay, now trouser, size is this, color is red, product is denim, price is this, quantity is this, and total is this, and now add. Now I have two things. So click on the save button. So you see it's saying me that no records, that means we have done some mistake. So insert.php purchase details, there's a problem. That means let's go and right click and inspect and go to the network and press Ctrl R and just add the details again. Okay, add item, let's pick up another item. Okay, denim, and add and save. So you see insert, we are getting no records. Okay, and but the details are there, the purchase array is there, the data is also there, but I have done the mistake in the calling. Okay, so let's go inside the insert and check. So the purchase array and the purchase details array, and here let's remove this. Okay, and let's make them arrange with a dot operator. Okay, so now, so 0th row and the 5th column. Now let's check what's the output. Okay, sorry, no records. Let's refresh. Okay, shirt, medium, green, denim, 44, add and save. So you see inside the insert at the bottom we have passed the details. Okay, and the data is coming, but I have done a small mistake. Okay, let's remove this is set condition because right now I'm not retrieving anything. So if the purchase detail is there, okay, purchase details, and let's go to the purchase invoice again, and here we are having, that's my table, that's tr, that each, so purchase array. Okay, that's my mistake, it should be the purchase details. Now that's fine, okay, because I have created a separate array for that. Okay, so go to the insert page again, press Ctrl Z, and now save, and now let's check it out. So Chrome, okay, let's go to the inspect directly, and go to the network and Ctrl R for refresh, and then shift, size, blue, denim, quantity, add, that's my first item, trouser, length, red, denim, price, add second item, and then save. So you see things are coming, data is coming to me. That means the IDs that I have passed, and because I haven't specified the echo, that's why this is coming in this detail in this way. Let us add some spaces so that we can be able to understand. Okay, and then space, dot space, and then space, similarly space, and that's it. So you see I have specified the spaces, so that's my first echo. Okay, because I have two rows right now, I'll apply loop in this case, but right now just leave it and specify the br tag, echo br. Okay, and what is the mistake here? I have to specify dot. Okay, and here I have to specify dot, and that should be the 1 1. Okay, 1 2, same thing. So let's save this, and now let's go to the purchase invoice here and refresh the page, and let's check the output. So I hope you are getting, guys, how I can access the table records with the help of the each loop or for each loop, you can say. That's my first. Let's pick up the other. Okay, let's pick up green color because previously I have picked up the red one, and add and save. So you see now ID, okay, the things are coming to me respectively, the sizes, the quantities, and the other things that I have passed. So guys, this is how I can now pick up all the rows from my this HTML table with the help of this simple code and multi-dimensional array. Okay, so two tables I have done in this video up till now, and now we have to store the details, or we have to fetch the details for the stock and for the you can say the supplier ledger, the customer ledger, and we have to pick up the purchase ID. So I think I should stop here because the time is about to end. So that's all for today. If you do not understand anything, guys, please do write me, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, so just subscribe to it, so get the latest updates, and do press the bell icons as well for all the notifications for my upcoming lectures. So thank you so much, take care, Allah Hafiz.